welcome back. Laura here from Kin, and we have a lower body stretch class that is going to be so good for gaining more mobility and flexibility in the lower half of our body. So I'm talking about the hips, the hamstrings, the quads, the ankles. This is going to feel really good, and it's a great complement if you are doing any HIIT or any weightlifting, anything higher intensity like that where you really need to just stretch out and open up. So let's begin in a comfortable seated posture. And what we're using is just either a blanket or a towel rolled up underneath the sit bones just to elevate the hips slightly. And I do have a large bolster and a block in case we want to use it to modify some of the postures. So we're going to begin in a butterfly stretch. Bring the soles of your feet together out in front of the body. Let the knees drop open. Now for some of you, you might need to support under the knees depending on your hips or your knees. So if you do, prop yourself up. Otherwise, let's just begin with the breath here. So we're going to hang on to the ankles or the feet and start to lift the chest forward and up as we draw the shoulders back and down. Close your eyes and bring your awareness to your breath. Take one more breath like this, breathing all the way down into the low belly. And then from here we can begin to forward fold. So we start to deepen the stretch and the sensation around the hips and in the inner thighs. So this is where we might use our props. I'm going to pull this big bolster in front of me and put it right on top of my feet, and I have a block as well, something to rest my head down onto so that I can release the weight of my forehead. So you can start to exhale and slowly fold forward. Try your best to keep your knees still relaxing open here, and if you can, then just rest your forehead down onto your block. And close the eyes, and we'll take some time to breathe deeply here in our first opening. And sometimes there's some tightness in the low back, so we might feel that here as well. You can always hold these poses longer than we do in this video, or you can pause the video and then start it again, especially if they're feeling particularly delicious in your body. Just stay put if you can. Otherwise, we'll take 3 or 4 more breaths in this pose. So I've just dropped my block down so that my head can come down a little deeper. Okay, excellent. Let's inhale and start to curl back up. And we can just set the block aside for a moment. We're not changing our position too much, but we'll just lean back and kick our legs out in front of us now. Maybe still staying supported by your blanket or your towel. Send the heels wide and bring your bolster in front of you and maybe your block on top as well. So from here, we'll lift up through the chest again, and let's add a little bit of movement. So start to just sway your torso side to side. And as you start to sway side to side, begin to lower your chest down and begin to forward fold here. Let your body be your guide here. So listening if you need to modify or prop up at all. Might be nice to have something rolled up underneath the knees. And I'm going to come right down and rest my forehead down again. So please join me. Release the weight of your head. And this is such a nice stretch and opening for the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. We're getting right in there. If this area is tight for you, you're going to feel this now. So we'll give our body some time to release. Just take 2 or 3 more breaths right here. You might even be able to bring your block down a level if you're using one. Fold in a little deeper. Final couple breaths. And with your next inhale, start to curl back up, walk the hands back in. Take a moment to recover, let the body rebound. And then we'll just set our props aside for a moment. And we're gonna come into a seated twist from here. So you're welcome to still keep your sit bones on your support or to come off completely. Let's tuck our left leg under to begin and step the right foot over. Coming onto both sit bones, so make a little adjustment if you need to here. Sit up tall through the spine, and option 1, you can wrap your left arm around the shin, or you can reach up and thread that elbow to the outer right thigh. The right arm's gonna come behind us like a kickstand to keep the spine tall. So you can start to exhale and move into your twist, and no need to crank in too deep. Just take your time to move in to a comfortable edge. This is so good for the spine, mobility, and flexibility. And it feels particularly nice in the outer hips. Take 2 or 3 more breaths here. And then we'll release just with a quick counter stretch. So bring your hands around to the left side of the body and just bow the forehead down. And then come right back up and change legs. Wrap your right leg under, stamp your left foot over. Adjust your sit bones so you feel pretty even. And then left arm behind you to hold the spine up nice and tall. Reach up, maybe threading that elbow to the outer thigh or just hanging onto the leg. So whatever's more suited for your body today. And then start to breathe out and move into your twist. And try to let go of any gripping, any tightness around the outer hips. And take one more big breath in and a breath out. Release back through center. Take the hands down, take that counter stretch and release. And come back to center. Just lean back into your hands for a moment, guys, and plant the feet down in front and let the knees tick-tock left and right. Okay, excellent. So from here, we're gonna transition onto hands and knees, and we'll come into a pigeon pose next. Some people love this pose and some do not. It can be pretty intense on the outer hip, so let's make sure we have our props close by in case we need to use them. So just come into tabletop, and from here we'll start with the right side, so we're going to slide our right knee in behind the right wrist. Now this heel, this right heel, can either be closer into the body, or you can start to open it out closer to the top edge of your mat, which is going to be more intense and definitely suited for more open hips. So I'm going to tuck mine in for now. And start to walk your left leg back, stretch it out long. So we get a really nice opening here in that hip flexor in the front of the left hip. And then a really nice opening in the outer right hip. So what we can do is prop up underneath our seat to help keep the hips really nice and level. And then we can climb down and support ourselves on our elbows and forearms here. Some of you can come right down onto your chest, and some may need to stay up a little higher here. So close the eyes and bring the attention to the physical sensation in the body here. Sometimes when we come into these stretches, it's a little more intense in the beginning, and then our body starts to really receive the stretch and starts to open up to it as everything starts to relax and lengthen. You might be able to move in a little deeper, maybe stacking the hands or even using a block underneath the forehead and come in a little further. And take 2 or 3 more breaths down here. Continue to soften around the hips, the low back. And with the next inhale, we can start to come out. So holding that one just a little longer, that's a really nice hip opener. Tuck your back toes in and walk your back knee in a little closer so that you can more easily come back into tabletop. And we can feel a little stiff after coming out of those longer held stretches. So stretch the right leg back, kick through the heel, and then change sides. Slide your left knee forward. Turn up the intensity or turn it down by bringing the heel in closer to the body, and walk your right leg back, back, back. Hips are level, and we might tuck that little soft support underneath the sit bone. And then start to climb our way down to the elbows or forearms. And here we are on the other side. So it's a new experience. Usually you can notice a difference from one side to the other. And it's helpful sometimes just to close the eyes, keep the attention right here on the mat, in the body. And take a final few breaths here, maybe deepening, bringing the chest down a little further, dropping the forehead down. Take a big breath in and start to climb back out. And again, you can hold that one longer if you'd like. So let's pull the prop out and just crawl our back knee in. Return to tabletop. And again, just stretch out that left leg, send it back, reach out through the heel. Good, and from here, tuck both toes under and sit back into your heels. Just opening up through the arches of the feet, spreading the toes really nice and wide, and just getting a gentle stretch over the quads. We'll take a deeper stretch in just a moment for the quads. And we're gonna take a pose for hip mobility. So we're gonna come into a deep malasana or yoga squat. So come onto the soles of the feet. Send your knees wide. Feet are separated here, so you can even walk them out a little bit further so the heels come close to the edges of the mat. Now we can take an option with our props to support our bottom. So we actually kind of sit here. That's a little more comfortable. It's a little gentler on the hips, and bring the palms together. So just holding this for 5 or 6 breaths is going to help with those deep squats in any of your exercise practices. Do away with the prop if you want a little more challenge. Come on down with your bottom. Press into the feet, so stay strong there through the bottoms of the feet. And start to extend the spine, keep the chest lifted. We won't be here too long. Breathe through it if it's intense for you for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Let's send the hips up just for a moment. Forward fold, so let your head drop down. Let the back of the legs open up. Good, and then we're gonna come right back down onto our bottom. So bring your legs out in front of you on your mat and clear the space behind you, because we're going to come all the way down onto our back for a bridge pose. So as you come down, bring your heels in close to your bottom and place the arms beside you. This is gonna feel really nice to stretch and open up the quads and the front of the hips. So press down through your feet and lift the hip bones high. As you lift the hip bones high, squeeze and activate the glutes and the hamstrings. Make sure the neck is extended long. Breathe in, lift a little higher if that's possible, and then exhale and lower down. We're gonna do that twice more. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, press down through your feet, lift your hip bones. Feel the knees point forward. And with your next breath out, we'll lower the spine down. Nice and controlled. And then last one, inhale. And as you exhale, root the feet down, send the hip bones high. Try to keep your thighs pretty parallel here. If you have a little more room to press up, then go for it now. Opening up the front of those hips, stretching the hip flexors, and when you're ready, exhale and roll all the way down. Breathe in and breathe out. All right, final stretch here. And we are done. So let's cross the right leg over the left, and we'll just take a butterfly stretch here on our back. The knees are close together, and we're pulling the feet out towards the sides of the mat. Well, some of you might only be able to just hang on here just below the knees. That's okay. Otherwise, if you can, slide your hands down around the ankles. And we're just gently pulling those feet around towards the sides of the hips. The whole time keeping the sacrum grounded. This is a really nice opening for the low back. Nice stretch for the glutes and the outer hips. And then release that grip. Keep your legs crossed and send both knees over to the left. So we can deepen the hip stretch and start to get into the IT band a little bit, especially on that right leg. Stretch your right arm out. Just take a few breaths here. Okay, unravel the legs, roll your hips back to center, and we'll do that on the other side. Left leg crosses over the right. Let's hang on to the shins or down around the ankles if we can. Drawing the feet around to the sides of the hips. Feeling our sacrum rooted. And then keeping that left leg crossed over the right, let's take both knees down to the right. And just balance out that deeper stretch for the outer hip and the IT band. Take the left arm wide. Okay, excellent. Let's unravel the legs and just for a moment pull both knees in over the belly and just rock your low back side to side. Good, and you can extend the legs, kick out through the heels and bend. Just washing through the hamstrings there a little bit. One last little bit of movement. Good, and then rock yourself back up. And I hope you're feeling nice and limber through the lower body, through the hips and the legs, and continue to come back to this practice a few times a week and you'll really start to feel some improvements in any of your exercise practices or just in general in the hips and the low back. Thank you so much for joining. Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. If you're enjoying what we're sharing, please give us a like, and you can also subscribe to this channel below.
And if you want to follow us along on this journey, you can find us at kin.co or on Instagram at kinsite.